Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And, today we're tackling something pretty huge, Amazon,
Could be.
but not just like, your average Amazon Prime delivery. We're talking like big picture, Amazon, their current performance, where they might be headed, and some of the really interesting innovations that they're working on.
Yeah.
And to guide us through all of this, we're using a recent equity research report from CrispIdea as our jumping off point.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, it's hard to overstate how much Amazon has just become this force in our lives. It really does shape the way that we shop and work and live even.
It really does. I think, especially in the past few years with the pandemic and everyone staying home, it accelerated, I think, a lot of the trends of online shopping and delivery. And
Right. And, we all know that Amazon is a giant in e-commerce, but the report actually puts some numbers to that, and it's like truly massive. So they cite that the global e-commerce market is projected to reach almost $19 trillion by 2029.
Yeah, that's a crazy number.
It's an insane number.
19 trillion with a T.
Yeah, that's the entire global economy of many countries.
Yeah, it's wild.
So, I think that just shows you the massive shift in consumer behavior that's happening globally.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, too, is that they pointed out that Amazon's e-commerce revenue in Asia in 2023 was almost $1 trillion more than in the Americas.
Wow.
So it's really showing this huge growth in Asia and kind of where the future of e-commerce is going.
It's interesting, too, because Asia is the manufacturing hub of the world, but they're also becoming the biggest consumers in the world.
Yeah, the rise of the Asian middle class is driving a lot of that.
Right. So, okay, so we've got this massive e-commerce market, and then we've got Amazon that's already a giant, but CrispIdea gives them a buy rating, and they even raised their target price to $227. So they're clearly pretty bullish on Amazon's future.
Yeah, they definitely are.
But what's driving that optimism? I mean, what do they see in Amazon that makes them think that this growth is going to continue?
Well, they highlight several key moves that Amazon is making.
Okay.
One that stands out to me is their Buy with Prime program.
Okay.
They're expanding this to Adidas now. So if you're a Prime member, you can shop directly from Adidas's website or app and get all the Prime benefits like free shipping and easy returns.
So it's almost like Amazon is trying to become the default checkout for any online store.
It seems like it. Yeah.
And what does that mean for competitors like Nike or all the smaller retailers out there?
Right. It's a really interesting question because Amazon is leveraging their massive logistics network and their customer loyalty to become an indispensable part of online shopping,
right,
no matter where you're buying from.
Yeah.
So it could really reshape the entire e-commerce landscape.
But it seems like it could also be pretty risky, right? Could it alienate other retailers or even lead to antitrust concerns?
Yeah, those are definitely valid concerns. There's a potential for backlash from both consumers and regulators.
Right.
But I think the convenience and the seamless experience for shoppers is going to be hard to resist.
Right.
So the question is whether the potential benefits outweigh the risks.
Okay, so that's Buy with Prime. But then Amazon's also venturing into some really unexpected territories. They're launching a cloud-based mobile network called WIM in Mexico, a mobile network that's not what you typically think of when you think of Amazon.
Yeah, not at all.
Right.
But it just shows their willingness to push boundaries and explore new markets.
Right. And I think they're not just offering connectivity, they're bundling in streaming services like Prime Video and Paramount Plus and things like airport lounge access.
Right. They're going all in.
And it's all powered by AWS, their cloud computing platform. Yeah. So it's they're trying to create this complete digital ecosystem.
Yeah, it's about locking customers into their ecosystem.
Yeah.
So the more services you use, the more data they collect, and the better they can personalize your experience and keep you coming back for more.
And that's valuable. Right.
Extremely valuable.
Right. And I think it was interesting, too, because the report said that they deployed the whole network in just 4 months, which is insane.
That is incredibly fast, yeah.
Yeah. So it's they're moving really quickly and aggressively.
They are.
So, okay, so we've got Buy with Prime, we've got this mobile network, but then there's also this partnership with Pearson, the education giant. What are they doing there?
So this partnership is focused on using AI and cloud technology to transform learning. So think personalized learning experiences, more efficient delivery of education, and greater accessibility worldwide. Wow. Pearson is going to be using AWS's AI toolkit, which includes Amazon Bedrock, to enhance its offerings.
So that's healthcare, telecom, and now education.
Yeah, it seems like their ambitions are limitless.
It really does. Are they going to take over the world?
Well, they're certainly using their data-driven approach and their expertise in logistics and technology to make big moves in a lot of different industries.
Yeah, okay, so all this innovation is really exciting, but what about the bottom line? What does CrispIdea see in terms of Amazon's financial future?
So they're forecasting solid revenue growth around 9.7% in fiscal year 2025,
Okay.
which is actually slightly lower than the consensus estimate of 9.5%.
Oh, interesting. So CrispIdea is a little bit more conservative on the revenue side?
Yeah, just slightly.
But what about earnings?
So this is where things get a bit more exciting.
Okay.
They're projecting EPS growth of 14.5%,
Wow.
potentially exceeding expectations. And they're especially bullish on the advertising business, which is quickly becoming a major growth engine for Amazon.
Well, that makes sense, right? I mean, they have just a massive user base and incredible insights into customer behavior, which is really valuable to advertisers.
Absolutely.
So, but how does that translate into their overall financial picture?
Well, it seems like they're prioritizing profitability over just top-line revenue growth. So they're really focusing on optimizing their operations and investing in higher-margin businesses like advertising.
Okay, so Amazon's doing well financially, but it seems like they're really playing the long game.
Yeah.
They're not just selling products anymore, they're building this whole ecosystem.
So what does that mean for their position in the market?
Well, that's where we need to zoom out and look at the competitive landscape.
Okay.
So CrispIdea compares Amazon to companies like Wayfair, Best Buy, Target, Etsy, even Costco.
So it's like a pretty diverse group of competitors.
It is a very diverse group.
Yeah. So how does Amazon stack up against all these other retail giants?
Well, across the board, Amazon shines in key valuation metrics. So, for example, their forward PE ratio for fiscal year 2025 is projected to be 34x, which is significantly higher than the peer median of 15x.
Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with PE ratios, just think of it as a way to gauge how much investors are willing to pay for every dollar of a company's earnings.
Right.
So a higher PE suggests greater confidence in future growth.
Exactly.
So I guess that means that investors are willing to pay a premium for Amazon's growth potential.
Yeah, even if their revenue growth isn't as explosive as some of their peers, it's a bet on their ability to disrupt industries and continue delivering long-term value. Yeah, it really seems like they're operating on a different level than a lot of other companies.
Yeah, they are.
So we've seen Amazon dominating e-commerce, venturing into these unexpected markets, outperforming their peers financially. But I have a feeling there's even more to this deep dive.
Oh, there's much more to come.
Okay, buckle up, everybody. We're just getting started with this Amazon deep dive.
You know, we were talking about all these different areas that Amazon's moving into.
Yeah.
And I think it's really fascinating to see how they're taking their expertise in, technology and data and applying it to things that you wouldn't necessarily think of as being, typical Amazon, beyond retail.
Right. It's like they're not just content with being the everything store now. They want to be like the everything company.
Yeah, exactly. And this CrispIdea report highlights some really interesting innovations that I think are worth diving into.
Okay. I'm all ears, lay it on me.
So one that really stood out to me was Amazon adds new AI-powered SQL generator for their Amazon Marketing Cloud platform. Now, I know that sounds a bit technical, but bear with me because the implications of this are huge for marketers.
Yeah, for those of us who aren't like tech wizards, maybe you can break that down a little bit. What is so special about an AI-powered SQL generator?
Okay, so imagine you're a marketer and you're trying to understand your target audience. Who are these people? What are they like? What makes them tick? And ultimately, what motivates them to buy a product?
Right. Every marketer wants to know that.
Exactly. And to get those answers, you have to dig into massive data sets, and you have to use a coding language called SQL to do that.
Okay, so this AI tool basically takes the coding out of the equation.
It's like having a personal data scientist at your fingertips. You can simply describe your ideal customer in plain English, and the AI translates that into these complex SQL queries that are needed to pull those insights from Amazon's vast data trove.
So no more coding headaches, just instant insights.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's a huge time saver for marketers who are already super busy.
Yeah.
It allows them to focus on strategy and creativity rather than getting bogged down in the technical details.
That makes a lot of sense, but it also kind of raises some questions about data privacy. What safeguards are in place to make sure that our information is being used responsibly?
That's a great question. And it's one that we need to be asking more and more as AI becomes more prevalent in marketing and other fields. Data privacy and ethical use are absolutely paramount. It's an ongoing discussion and something that we need to stay informed about as consumers.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so we talked about AI in marketing, but you also mentioned healthcare earlier. What is Amazon doing in that space?
Well, this is where things get really interesting. They're partnering with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, which is a world leader in cancer research and treatment.
Okay, now we're talking some serious stuff.
They're combining MSK's clinical expertise with AWS's cloud computing AI and high-performance computing capabilities to accelerate cancer research and treatment. So they're going to be analyzing massive data sets, including genomic and imaging data, to develop more personalized treatments and ultimately improve patient outcomes.
So they're basically using the power of big data to fight cancer?
Essentially, yes, and the potential benefits are enormous. Imagine being able to predict how a patient will respond to a specific treatment or track the progression of their cancer with unprecedented accuracy.
That's what I find so exciting about this. We're seeing technology being used to tackle some of humanity's biggest challenges. It's not just about convenience anymore. It's about making our lives better, healthier, and longer.
Exactly, and it underscores the responsibility that comes with this kind of technological advancement. We need to make sure that these tools are being used ethically and equitably for the benefit of all.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Okay, so we're celebrating these advancements, but it's also important to acknowledge that Amazon is facing some scrutiny for its growing power and influence. We've seen concerns about antitrust issues and the potential for them to stifle competition.
Right, and those are valid concerns. The delicate balance between fostering innovation and protecting consumers and the market.
Right. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit and go back to CrispIdea's analysis of Amazon's financial performance. We talked about their revenue and earnings projections, but what about their advertising business? CrispIdea seemed pretty excited about that.
They're projecting strong growth in this area, and for good reason. Amazon's advertising revenue hit $17.3 billion in the most recent quarter, which is a significant jump from previous years.
Wow, that's a lot of ad revenue. What's driving that kind of growth?
Well, a few factors are at play. First, Amazon has this massive and highly engaged user base. Second, they're leveraging their unique data and customer insights to offer really targeted advertising solutions that are very effective for brands. And third, they're constantly innovating, adding new ad formats and features to enhance their offerings.
So they're not just selling products anymore. They're selling access to their audience. They're becoming like a media company in a way.
In a way, yes. They're becoming a major player in the digital advertising landscape, alongside companies like Google and Facebook.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered Amazon's e-commerce dominance, their innovative ventures in unexpected areas, their financial outlook, and their booming advertising business. It seems like they're firing on all cylinders.
They definitely are. There's a lot to be excited about when it comes to Amazon.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, is there anything else we should know?
Well, we talked about their overall revenue and earnings growth, but I think it's interesting to note that CrispIdea is projecting their revenue growth to be slightly lower than some of their peers.
That's interesting. But their valuations are still sky high, right? What explains that discrepancy?
It comes down to investor confidence. Despite the slightly slower revenue growth, investors are betting on Amazon's long-term potential. They believe in their ability to continue disrupting industries, innovating at a rapid pace, and delivering substantial shareholder value. They see Amazon as a company that's constantly pushing boundaries and redefining what's possible.
Yeah, it's like they're playing a different game than everyone else.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've seen Amazon dominating e-commerce, venturing into these unexpected markets, and outperforming their peers financially. But I have a feeling there's even more to this deep dive, right?
Oh, you're absolutely right. We've only scratched the surface next.
Yeah.
We're going to delve into some of the truly cutting-edge innovations that Amazon is developing, the kind of stuff that can have a profound impact on all our lives.
Okay, this is getting really exciting. I can't wait. You won't want to miss part 3 of this deep dive where we explore those incredible innovations coming from Amazon and what they might mean for the future. All right, we are back, and I have to say my head is still spinning a little bit from all those Amazon innovations we just talked about. I mean, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around all the different directions they're going in.
It is, and we've explored how they're expanding their reach, but I think now it's time to really consider like what that actually means for all of us if they're already in healthcare, telecom, AI-powered marketing. Like, where else could this approach disrupt the status quo?
Right. It's not just about, Amazon being successful as a company. It's about their impact on like society as a whole.
Exactly. It's not just about a higher stock price or, faster shipping. It's about how technology is shaping our lives. Yeah. For better or for worse. And Amazon is right at the forefront of that wave.
So like paint me a picture. What could this actually look like, 5 years down the road? Like, what are some potential scenarios for Amazon?
Well, imagine this. Their drone delivery network isn't just dropping off packages. It's delivering vital medical supplies, or even aiding in like disaster relief efforts.
Oh, wow.
Or think about how their AI expertise could be used to personalize education,
Mm.
make learning more engaging and accessible to everyone.
Yeah, that's a really cool thought. I mean, those are some pretty positive possibilities, but it's easy to get caught up in all the excitement of new technology and forget about the potential downsides. We can't ignore those either, right?
Absolutely. We have to consider the ethical implications of AI, the data privacy concerns, and the potential for job displacement as automation advances. It's a complex situation with no easy answers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think this deep dive has really given us a glimpse into this future where technology plays an even bigger role in our lives than it does now. And it's pretty clear that Amazon is going to be a major player in shaping that future.
No doubt about it.
But as you said, it's really up to all of us to think critically about these advancements and have those conversations about how we want technology to shape our world.
I think that's a great point and a great takeaway from this whole deep dive. We're not just analyzing a company here. We're grappling with the future itself. So, what excites you about Amazon's potential? What concerns you? These are all questions we're thinking about as we navigate this increasingly, technology-driven world.
Well said. I think that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into the world of Amazon. But as always, we've given you plenty to think about. So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.